Welcome to the Sweet Georgia Show, where we explore craft, creativity, and what compels us to create. I'm Felicia Lo, founder of Sweet Georgia Yarns and the School of Sweet Georgia, our online fiber arts community based in Vancouver, Canada. Each episode, I chat with creatives and craftspeople, knitters, spinners, weavers, and multi craft tool makers who bring joy to their communities through their work. Together, we are going to uncover why making is so essential to who we are and share inspiration to brighten your own crafting journey. So please grab your project, get cozy, and let's dive into the colorful world of Sweet Georgia. Today is a super special day. We don't often get people onto the podcast for a second time, but this is going to be the second appearance of Fiona McLean and Amanda Milne from Knit Social or Knit City Vancouver is one of the projects that they're working on. So Amanda and Fiona, welcome back to the Sweet Georgia Show. So it's been incredible to think that it has been actually 10 years since the last time that you were on. It was actually episode 13. I think we're like 100 something episodes right now, but it feels just like such a huge, it's a lifetime ago that that happened. Um, Can you think back to, yeah, 2015 is when we recorded the episode. And at the time, I think you guys were having Clara Parks come in. She was coming in to do a lecture. You were sort of building out yarn swaps at the time, like swap meets for yarn at the time. And then you were starting to build out Knit City, Vancouver at that time. Now, looking back, like what was sort of that initial um, vision about when you started Knit Social and Knit City? What were your plans when you think back 10 years? What were you thinking about doing at the time?
10 years ago was actually really exciting because we had had a couple knit cities under our belt and some other, retreats and yarn swaps and those sort of community things that were a lot of fun. And we were starting to see that growth and just seeing people return to Knit City year after year and just like really feeling the excitement every year as the show came about, and it was great. And then of course, we were just always trying to build on that every year. But um, I don't think we ever imagined what 10 years later would look like.
Kids were 10 years younger than they are now. And so we were just in a different phase of life. And because we work from home, for the most part, except for when we're at shows, our time was sort of dictated by how much extra time we had, really, like in addition to parenting. Now our kids are teens. They're like late teens. They're much more independent than they used to be. And so we have way more time than we used to in terms of like work hours during the day. But 10 years ago, it's really hard to see that that's going to happen when you're in the midst of, little kids and juggling work from home and you're wearing all these different hats. It's sort of hard to see what it's gonna be like in 10 years. You almost can't believe it's gonna be different than it is.
Mhm, mhm, and
But
that you're gonna have this time, um, this extra time that you can use to grow even more, or do even more projects and things like that, right?
yeah, exactly, and it's like even, time in terms of working at home for sure, and then also time we can travel a little bit easier now than we used to be able to as well. It's just less difficult than it used to be
Mm.
because the kids are more independent.
It's nice to hear you say some of these things because I do remember, like,
Yeah.
very first planning sessions that were, I think, at your apartment, and there was like a it was like a common room, not a common room, but like a yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah. Like a yes, yeah,
was
it
it a
was a
day?
daycare, but we're allowed to use it as members here, yeah.
Yes,
So
that's
the
right. So
yeah.
we met in there, and I think that Anna Hunter was there as well, and Caitlin French, and then just kind of like starting those first few years of you guys were planning and developing. knit city and seeing where that was all going to go. But I just remember, yeah, we were sitting there and then talking a lot about like little kids, and I hadn't started having kids yet, and I was just always trying to imagine what it was going to be like and how I would be able to juggle all the things. And so I was learning a lot from you guys at the time to see how do you do this and how do you manage this and all of that kind of stuff. So it's really interesting to you guys hear that life has changed since then as well and evolved and everything.
Yeah, it's just interesting. It's sometimes you don't know what the next phase is going to be like when you feel like you're in one phase forever. But yeah, things have opened up quite a bit. And I
Hmm.
remember last time we talked, you hadn't had your kids yet, and you were asking about like the work-life balance and all of that.
Yeah.
Because yeah,
No, so
but you
speaking
figure
about
it out. Yeah.
So speaking about work-life balance, things have changed obviously in the past 10 years. About 2015 is when we spoke. It's 2025 now, and halfway in the middle, there was some very dramatic things that happened in the world that changed everything about everything that we did. And I imagine you guys were growing Knit City and growing all of these events that you do, and then all of a sudden we get to 2029, 2020. Can you describe a little bit about what happened at that time and um, your entire experience of what that like March 2020 shutdowns here in Vancouver and everything like that? How did that affect you guys?
It was pretty dramatic. I mean, I'm sure everybody felt like it was very dramatic in their life. Um, we were definitely on an upswing. We were just about to launch our first Knit City Montreal, which was supposed to be, I believe, the third week of March 2020. We were getting ready to like pack our bags and head to Montreal and, launch this show that we were super excited about for the first time. And, everything was shut down. So that felt very devastating and just
Hmm.
really we were unsure of like what was going to happen um, because our business is primarily events where we bring people together in person, and so there was just so much uncertainty about how things were going to evolve in the future in terms of events. And thankfully, like, we have such a great community. Oops. And we were able to kind of pivot by we put together this like City Montreal kind of a magazine that we sold to people, and we started doing some like little subscription boxes that were really well received, and it was really nice to see um the community kind of trying to support one another at that time.
Because you had
Yeah.
to shift entirely from like a face-to-face sort of opportunity, face-to-face events, to some other way of delivering that kind of connection and community experience without necessarily being face to face. And so, what would that be? Whether it's like shipping these delivery boxes and things like that, or what else did you work on, Fiona?
We
Yeah.
did virtual shows as well. So like we sort of went through a series of different types of virtual shows. Everyone was just trying things and seeing what would stick. So um we started offering classes online, and then we eventually started having sort of vendor featuring having a virtual show, and the vendors that signed up would each get a half hour or 40 minutes to talk about, what specials they had, what was new, what kind of new products they had, and just get sort of a face to face with our audience. So I don't know how many virtual shows we did, maybe three altogether. Um, yeah, and we definitely tried our best with them. Nothing is like being face to face in person with somebody.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so it all felt very temporary. But everybody in our community was really supportive and sort of game to go on this journey with us of trying things to see what would sort of be a good substitute while we were all in this situation together.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, so then you were able to sort of come out of this time and
back in towards face-to-face sort of, face-to-face what was the first face-to-face meeting that you guys had?
Like, just between the 2 of us
Or no, the
or for
face-to-face event. What was the first
face-to-face meeting?
face-to-face event that you
Oh,
hosted?
yeah. That was our Knit City Mini, we called it the mini show. Yeah, much smaller scale. We didn't have any workshops because we didn't wanna be putting people in a small room together, right? Even with masking, it was, we were trying we were tentative,
Mhm.
and it was nice. It was
Yeah,
still nice to be able to do the
it's
mini
timed entry.
show, but it
Yeah.
it wasn't the same at all.
Yeah, it was a step. I mean, it was a step back to normal for sure. So it felt good in that way when you're starting to like return to normal, but it was definitely not um the show that we're used to. It was timed entry too. So just it was never super crowded because we never wanted it to be crowded.
Mhm.
So we kept it. So it just wasn't the same. It wasn't the same kind of, go to Knit City, stay all day, hit up the food trucks, go shopping with your friends. It was like go in, go out.
Right.
And yeah,
Yeah, I
but
remember that
it
time
was
you guys
good. It was really, no, go ahead.
I remember you guys being very, very considerate of the public during that time, and, obviously, people had lots and lots of concerns, and you guys always seemed to really navigate all those concerns really well. You were very considerate, very thoughtful about, like, having the timed entry blocks for people to come in, and then also having, like, sort of notes about masking, but then also about I think that there was, like, early entry for some people, was that right?
We did an early entry. I don't know if it was for that event, but the one prior.
Mm,
Just trying everything we could to make people feel comfortable, make ourselves feel comfortable too, and not try to jump in too fast again, really.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, after that, I mean, I think everybody sort of wants to like forget that happened and just move on with the rest of every part of life. But, since that time, you guys have grown and expanded so much because it's not just a Vancouver show now and it's not just a Montreal show. You guys have added on so many more destinations. Can you talk a little bit about all of the different shows and what the decision-making process was around choosing these locations?
For sure. So for Toronto, we've added a Toronto show and we've added a Calgary show. So now we have, in addition to Montreal and Vancouver, it's four shows altogether. We decided that the reason we went for Calgary, for example, was because many of our vendors and actually guests and attendees at Knit City Vancouver are from Alberta. Um, and they would be making the trek every year to Vancouver, driving over the Rockies with all of their things. And we just thought that maybe would be a good idea for us to come to their city. There seemed to be a lot of enthusiasm. People were really encouraging us to give it a try in Calgary. And so we felt really positive about Calgary, and because so many of our vendors and attendees sort of were from that area too, we thought just coming to them would be something to try, and it worked out really well. And then for Toronto, that's a city that people have asked us since the beginning of starting Knit City Vancouver to go to Toronto. Um, and we always wanted to, but it takes a lot of time and effort to launch a new show, and we didn't really have the time until our kids were older and our business was a little bit more established. So,
'Cause you can
yeah.
only imagine. Because 'cause I've only ever seen the Knit City Vancouver show, right? And so seeing it here, and you guys are organizing everything behind the scenes, of course, and then you also have a little bit of you have a team as well helping you, and then you also have a huge army of volunteers who help out at each event, right? Who
Y-
are helping
Yeah.
so many things. So I can
Yeah.
only imagine if you're doing 4 shows now, you have to quadruple your resources basically, right? You have to quadruple your number of people that you're working with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, that's been kind of one of the most amazing parts of it is like, especially the volunteers, they're just incredible. And well, part of it is we only do 2 shows a year. So, rather than trying to, split ourselves into 4, we're only splitting ourselves into 2 yearly, which is a little bit easier. But we see a lot of the same vendors at some of our shows, which is fantastic, and a lot of the same attendees too. Actually, you see really familiar faces all across Canada, which is kind of amazing. Um, and then, like I was saying with the volunteers, like there's something really special about people who volunteer their time, honestly. They truly love what they do and they're so good at it. Like we've just been really blessed with like the teams that we have in every city, actually.
Yeah, and it's never been difficult to find volunteers. People approach us and ask us if we're taking on volunteers, and they're so enthusiastic and so excited that a knit city is coming to their town. And yeah, I don't know. We've been really, really lucky with having volunteers come and help us at the show. And we don't take that lightly at all. We're so thankful for all of them, and we try to compensate all of them as much as possible. Although they really find joy in what they're doing.
Mhm.
Yeah, just being a
They
part
don't
of it.
exactly. Yeah.
Did I see something like somebody had volunteered previously for Vancouver and then, like, flew over to Calgary and then volunteered at Calgary too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had volunteers from Toronto want to come to Montreal and vice versa. And I don't know, there is just something really special about being at the show in person and getting like that face to face and just being in the thick of it all. Like it really is kind of magical.
Yeah,
It's
you're
an
really in the
exciting time to
trenches
be around.
together. Yeah, and then you work directly with the volunteers, like in the trenches together. You really bond over the weekend. All of our Vancouver volunteers are like they're super good friends now. They hang out, like they're their own like group of friends now. And same with our volunteers from our other cities too. Everyone just really bonds over the weekend. And of course they all have like the passion of fiber arts and the passion of knitting usually in common. And so once you have that foundation, you can really sort of continue to bond with people pretty easily. And there's
Mhm.
so much to talk about at the show, like so many exciting things. You want to talk about all the vendors and all the cool stuff they have, and it's just really fun to be with a group like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's become really like a destination, like the thing on the calendar everybody's looking forward to every year. So I'm really excited about that. So you were saying you only do 2 shows a year then. So I know you move in between Vancouver and Calgary back and forth. And then is it
Yeah.
between Montreal and Toronto then back and forth?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's correct. Yeah.
So our
And it's been
Western
working really
shows.
yeah. It's been working really well. Sometimes yeah, we just thought that maybe every year is a lot to do in one city, and I think there's something to be said about people missing you a little bit. And I also think that maybe Vancouver, like, come to Calgary, check it out, super fun. Or if you're from Montreal, come to Toronto, or vice versa. Just sort of spread the love a little bit, and
Mhm. Do
it's
you ever
worked
think
so
about
far.
doing any more shows in Canada, like maybe Halifax or something like that? Or
We get asked
Yeah.
about Halifax a lot.
Yeah.
Halifax and Ottawa are the two that
Hmm.
kind of land in our ears the most. And
Hmm.
it's like a never say never, never say
Yeah, we're
never.
totally open. We're totally open. It just needs to, there's so many moving parts when it comes to launching a show. And timing is a huge factor too. And if it happens, like it's just
Venues.
the time has to be right.
yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Depends on your timing as well, because I know just before the call you were talking about how, like, you have Knit City Vancouver coming up in just a few weeks, and at the same time, the openings for Toronto have just opened, so now you're basically juggling the management of 2 shows all at the exact same time, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And
exactly.
then we've always got retreats going on behind the scenes to retreat prep and like there's always something to work on, always.
So maybe talk a little bit about your retreats because I don't think everybody knows about all of the retreats that you guys also organize. But there's knitting retreats, and they used to be a little bit more local around here, about around the Pacific Northwest area. But they have sort of also expanded and grown as you guys have. Can you describe that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. Um, we definitely still love hosting retreats here, like in our corner of the world, and probably always will. It's just such a destination to come. We host retreats in the Gulf Islands, Pender Island and Galliano Island, and we love bringing people there and showing them how beautiful BC is and how special those places are. And we'll probably always do that. We're just so lucky to live here. But we have also expanded to Europe, and we have been on two tours. They're less like retreats, more like tours, like 10-day tours to Ireland and Scotland, through the lens of fiber and sheep and knitting and fiber arts. And that's in collaboration with Irish tourism. So we're not going and sourcing all the farms and all the places that we're visiting on the tour. That's Irish tourism helps us with that because they know everybody, but we sort of organize the back end and organize the group that goes, and then we'll host everybody as we go. And so
Mhm.
that was sort of, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, they've been incredible to work with. So they have their own, kind of sister company called Knitting Tours, and they put together like bespoke tours for us. Like we say, this is what we'd like to do, and then they come back to us with all of their vendors, and put together,
An amazing
basically.
schedule.
Yeah, like it's been fantastic working with them. And we're actually going back one more time to Ireland, because we still haven't seen everything yet. So that'll be in April 2026.
Wow.
That was a very unexpected sort of branch of our company. That's not something that we had sort of like, especially 10 years ago, had thought about even doing at all. But Irish tourism and knitting tours reached out to us. And I think since the pandemic, um, we've been in a place of just saying, sure, yes, let's give it a try. We're pretty open, and opportunities have come our way, and we've been seizing them, which has felt really good. I think for both of us to be able to do, and luckily, really great opportunities have been coming our way. So it was really great to be able to say yes to Irish tourism. We didn't really know what we were getting ourselves into, but our first tour was a huge success. It was fantastic, and we'd work with them again in a heartbeat. So we
That
were sort
sounds
of going in blind, but it worked
amazing.
great. Yeah.
Do they organize all of the accommodations and all of those kinds of things for you as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just
They
tell
organize
them,
everything.
what we're looking for, and like a certain level of hotel and these destinations, and they come back to us with great options always.
Fantastic.
Yeah, they're
What
so
kind of
nice.
things do you
Usually we try to
oh,
sort of factor in some, like, we really love to go see the farms. We really love to go see the sort of um, things, like unusual, off the beaten track things. But then we throw in a few cultural things too. There's so much to see in Ireland, and then throw in a few um, things that aren't necessarily to do with like the fiber world, but are still to do with like craftsmanship and bringing something from like basic materials into something beautiful. And that's sort
mhm,
of the theme of our trips.
mhm. Sorry about that.
No
Um,
problem.
so what kind of things have you seen on your trip in Ireland?
Oh, we see like all, we go to like the main, kind of tourist destinations. We always start in Dublin, which is incredible. I love Dublin. And we always build in some time where people can go off on their own if they want to go to like the Guinness Storehouse or go get a pint, see some live music. Um, And then, like Fiona was saying, the sheep farms have been really, really special because we are going and seeing farmers who are really trying their hardest to revitalize the Irish sheep wool industry. And we are seeing that in Canada as well. And so we feel like a kinship for people who are really doing their best to try and like get local wool into the hands of local people. But it's difficult. And then, beyond that too, we went to like the Cliffs of Moher and we see like these spectacular landscape and historical sites as well. So it's been pretty amazing.
We have a driver and a bus, and so basically we're on this big road trip together through Ireland for 10 days. And we definitely ask our driver to go down some like pretty rickety little farm roads, but so far so far they've been like amazing about it. So
That's awesome. Has anybody, like,
yeah.
attempted to bring home a fleece or anything like that, like a raw fleece?
Oh, well,
I
we've
think
been given like chunks of fleece, not an entire
Right.
fleece. I still have it
You ship
somewhere.
it back?
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, there's always souvenirs to bring home.
Nice, nice.
Always.
yeah,
I'm sure yarn,
definitely.
for sure, always yarn, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Usually
always
like if
yarn.
if we're going to a destination, for example, a farm, usually they'll set up like a whole lunch for us and a whole shopping area for us and kind of just like set it up. Often there aren't fleeces for sale, but people are buying extra luggage for sure to
Mhm.
bring
Yeah.
yarn home.
Yeah, for sure. So if
Yeah.
anybody is curious about, like, what would be a specifically Irish sheep breed that somebody might find if they're heading out there?
Well, there's the
Oh, I
Galway, right?
yeah, and I'm trying to remember the name of I think it's Ross. Oh, testing my memory now. Um, that's a good question. So the last farm we went to in our last trip was Eru, Eriu. They were incredible. And then yeah, and then the Galway um wool company as well. Like they're really trying to like lead the charge on revitalizing Irish wool industry.
Right,
It's kind
sweaters.
of
Yep.
like here in Canada, like the Irish sheep breeds are the climate's similar to
Mhm,
West Coast Canada, anyways, and so the Irish sheep breeds are a little bit more hardy, and the
mhm.
the fleece is a little bit more coarse than merino.
Right.
Um, and they're just trying to uh, sort of explain to people and show people just what the character like how their fleece can be used, and just
Right.
because it's not maybe next to skin like merino, it doesn't mean it doesn't have uses and can't be beautiful. um so yeah, it's just education, really. I think most people are used to using merino now, like even in Ireland they have lots of stores that have like traditional Aran sweaters for
Mhm.
sale with all the cables, and often those sweaters are actually made with merino and not Irish yarn.
Oh, interesting.
Just because, just like in Canada, there's the infrastructure, the mill infrastructure, um, is not the same as it used to be. So um, people have been outsourcing like their yarn and bringing in merino, but people, just like in Canada, people are trying to smaller farmers are trying to bring that infrastructure back and use that infrastructure and really promote their like native breeds
Mhm, mhm. And so you guys
and
brought up the
show
Erin
people
knit.
the wonderful.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry,
And you
go ahead.
No, ahead. And you brought up the Erin knitting. Are there any sort of, workshops or classes that your participants are taking, sort of at the same time as they're on the tour, or classes that they can take?
Yeah, we have workshops with Irish instructors like Carol Feller, Una McDonough, and Edel McBride, and we're doing all sorts of hands-on workshops as well as touring around the beautiful countryside in our bus.
That sounds amazing. I keep asking you questions about Ireland because, I wanna go.
I know,
You
I
should
know.
come.
You should come, it sounds amazing.
It's a really wonderful. We can't say enough good things about it. Really, like we just love Ireland as a country, and the people are so wonderful, and we've had great experiences working there.
Mhm.
And there's something around every corner. And unlike Canada, it's old. It's quite old. Ireland is an old country, and so their craft tradition is really interesting to study because it goes back like hundreds and hundreds of years. So
Mhm.
there's just so much to learn when you're there,
Mhm.
so much to look at.
I wonder if you sort of now that you've already worked with the tourism, board with Ireland, do you ever think about, well, what other countries would you be most interested in visiting?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
We
and
have a little bit of a list for sure.
and people ask us if we'll do certain countries as well. And yeah, so lots of people have been asking about. There's a few countries right now that are very popular to visit. Lots of people ask about an Iceland trip. Lots of people ask about a trip to Portugal and Spain because
Mhm.
of the yarn industry there. And there's also like Norway and like Scandinavian countries. There's just such a rich history. So there's plenty of places on our wish list. We have to narrow it down. It's
There's
hard.
lots of things you guys are working
Yes.
on then. Okay,
Yeah.
so 2 shows, 2 major shows a year, these consumer
Yeah.
shows a year, and then is it one big, retreat kind of, trip a year? And then
Yes.
how many sort of more local, smaller retreats do you think there are a year?
We do usually 1 or 2 every fall.
Mhm,
So this year we have one on Galliano and one on Pender Island. Galliano will be in November. We're actually really looking forward to that. It's kind of more geared for people who are just interested in learning more about the Canadian wool industry or being, in like being part of the fiber arts industry. Um, and that'll be with Anna Hunter from Long Way Homestead, who we've known for years. And in October, we'll be back on Pender Island at Poets Cove, which is one of our very, very favorite places. And we have Julie Crawford and Megan Nodecker from Pip and Pin as our instructors there. So it's going to be another incredible retreat. I'm really looking forward to that one.
amazing. So you guys go
Yeah.
straight from Knit City, Vancouver, straight into an October retreat, straight into a November retreat.
Yeah,
Yes.
but there's no airplanes involved, so
Just
just
varies.
ferries.
No time change or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys take a break during the
We
year? Do you guys take a sort of a holiday or anything like that during the year?
um,
Um, not really. Our work is like, I guess, sort of, but I I don't know, you probably can relate to this, Felicia. Like when you run your own business, you're kind of always working. And even if you sort of have a week off here and there or whatever, um, I don't know about you, but there's always in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about work or like an email comes in that needs to be dealt with or, you know,
Mhm,
never really feels like we have a full break. But that's
mhm.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
One day.
So, I wanna go back and talk specifically about Knit City, Vancouver, um,
yeah.
because, like, looking back at past 10 years, 10 years ago, it looked like, 2015 Knit City, Vancouver vendors were about 55 vendors at that show, and I think the show has absolutely grown. I think it's, like, more than 75 vendors now. I think before there were 4 out-of-town instructors, now there's, like, more than 10 out-of-town instructors from, like, an international, arena and sort of things like that, and so just everything about this show has grown so much. What are your plans around, Knit City, Vancouver, like, this year and sort of beyond? What are you kind of thinking about?
Well, we're
Fiona, how
really
many
excited for
vendors do
this
we
year.
have?
We have so this year we like over the last few years, we've been working on launching a program called Emerging Makers, which is aimed at vendors who may not have done a show before or just might find the financial barrier just too difficult to commit to doing like a full show with a full booth, especially if you're just starting out. It's a big investment. So we started a sort of marketplace within our larger marketplace of smaller tables for emerging makers to set up at and sell all weekend. So that has been really fun. We launched that in Calgary,
Okay.
and then, yeah, and then we were able to do it this year in Montreal, and then this year, in September, it'll be our first year doing it in Vancouver. So
Mhm.
we're really excited about that, and we have a really great group of makers. There's about 12 um, that will be all set up in the marketplace. So we're excited about that for this show because it'll be our first time in Vancouver doing that. And then we have all kinds of other things planned for this show. We have your lounge, the Sweet Georgia Lounge, which is such a great staple in our marketplace, a place where people can rest and also watch really cool demos. I know you have some really exciting things like in the works that you're planning for this year. So I'll let you talk about that. But that's a great part of our show too. And then we also have some really fun demos this year as well in the marketplace, sort of sheep to shawl type demos. So
Oh, very
yeah,
cool. Yeah, it's been a
yeah. So we're
long
super
time since
excited
I've
about
seen
this
a
show.
sheep to shawl. Are they doing they're weaving it? Is that right?
Um, TBD. It's more like a sheep to shawl info area. So it'll be sort of interactive, but it won't be the full competition.
Okay,
But
yeah.
it'll be people from representing like from be a collection of people who will be just sort of demonstrating and taking us through the
How
process
it would work.
of a
Yeah,
sheep to
yeah,
shawl. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So that's really fun too. So we're super excited about that for this year in Vancouver. Plus, we have some amazing instructors as well. Although a lot of classes are pretty full at this point, right, Amanda?
Yeah, the workshops are pretty full. We do still have some space in some of them, and we are really excited about the instructors who are coming as well. Um, we, the only thing with Vancouver is that I have limited space with the venue for workshops, so we are seeing fewer than we had for in Montreal, for example. And that's just because we're limited by space,
Mhm.
and the venue's undergoing renovations, and so been a challenge, but
Oh, I didn't
we're
know the
still
Peony is
excited to
under
see everyone.
renovations?
Yeah, so one of our spaces where we normally have two workshops, they've renovated it now, and we can only hold one there.
Mm.
And then the other venue where we have workshops, we used to have three rooms. One is under renovation, so we only have two, that sort of thing. So, um, yeah, space is always that's always kind of our biggest behind the scenes challenge. People maybe don't know about, but we are still thrilled that we are going to have a big show this year with a lot of vendors. Fiona, how many vendors in total do we have?
I think including the emerging makers, there's over 90. So it's definitely a big one. There's going to be
Yeah,
a
and we'll have
lot
our
to look at.
food trucks out again as usual. Um, and it's just going to be a great weekend.
Yeah,
And
everybody's
the Vancouver show is just like really close to our hearts. We love all of the shows that we've launched. They're all so different.
Mhm.
But we love the vibe of the Vancouver show. And we're hoping for a nice sunny fall weekend like we sometimes are lucky to get. And looking forward to doing some knitting outdoors on the picnic tables and ordering from the food trucks and people just coming and spending the whole weekend and hanging out.
Yeah, I think that'll be nice to have it go back to where everybody can come and spend the whole day, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
we're
Yeah,
looking
that's
forward
like
to
a
too. Yeah. So we're looking
Yeah.
forward to that too, especially since we have, like you said, we are gonna host that lounge area, and so our plans for that
Yeah.
area bring in a whole bunch of different fiber arts things to do demos. So we're doing demos on weaving loom, like a floor loom. We're bringing in my circular sock knitting machine. We're bringing a flatbed knitting machine. We have spinning wheels. We're bringing a Daedalus e-spinner. We're just, yeah, we're going to bring in all sorts of things because I found that when you go to some of these shows, sometimes as a participant, you're seeing some of these crafts for the very first time. I remember seeing a
Hmm.
weaving loom at one of the local shows, and that was the first time I saw a weaving loom in real life, in real time. And you just never know how these things are going to stick in somebody's mind in the future. It just plants a little seed, and then maybe 3 years later, I'll see somebody be like, "Oh, I started blah 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 because I saw it at the show." And so that's something that we're hoping to be able to spark for a lot of people. So yeah, we always appreciate you guys um, finding such a great space for us to work in and all of that. So, yeah, really
Yeah, it's fun. It's so interactive in the lounge. And yeah, I'm really excited about all the machines you're bringing. They sound really cool. Because I know in the past you've had like definitely weaving demos, spinning demos, but I don't know, have you had like machine knitting demos before? Or is this the
never.
first year?
Never.
Yeah.
This is gonna be the first year we're bringing machines for sure, and a lot of this is because, I mean, we were talking about pandemic, and a lot of the people, that I have been speaking to, they did, like, acquire a lot of stash yarn during the pandemic, right? There was,
Yeah.
a f it feels very protective or safe almost to have, like, stocked up on yarn, but now I think a
Mhm.
lot of the challenge with people is the feeling kind of like, I have so much, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to work through all of it. And I found for myself that machine knitting is so much quicker in so many ways. I can realize and so many more ideas that I had. And so I'm hoping to encourage a lot of people to also look at their stash and be like, what can I like make and feel more confident about actually finishing things rather than thinking, oh, I'm going to spend the next 100 hours working on this thing. So yeah, just trying to encourage a little bit of that with everyone.
Yeah. I think that's really cool. It seems like machine knitting is having a bit of a resurgence too, especially like
Mhm.
cranking,
Yeah.
but machine knitting as well. It makes sense. And it's,
Yeah,
I'm sure, a skill in itself that you need to figure out.
I think
It's
the
not just
reason
like,
why yeah, the reason why we didn't have demos over the past couple of years is because, like, the skill to actually learn how to use it, it takes a bit of time, there's a learning curve, and I didn't
yeah.
feel super confident about coming and showing you all the drop stitches that I had. So, it's like learning how to do it before I can actually show you how to do it.
Yeah, totally. I get
Yeah.
that. I've used a machine before, like the one that just goes back and forth.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it was the machine or if it was me, but I was like, oh, it's gonna be so easy. I'm gonna have like a yard of fabric in no time. And I barely got past like the beginning. Everything just kept falling off the needles. And I was like, I need a teacher for this. It's not something I can just figure out.
It's like when
So,
you're learning how to knit for the first time, the hardest part is, like, figuring out how to tension the yarn in your fingers, how to tension your
mhm.
yarn as you're knitting, and
Yeah,
it's the same thing with
totally.
your machine. It's like figuring out how do we tension it so that the stitches don't all fall off and all that kind of stuff, so
Yeah. It's
anyway,
helpful to have someone tell you that.
have somebody see. Yeah. I mean, so
Yeah,
that's one of
totally.
the things that I noticed out of the community coming out of the pandemic, sort of. I also noticed at that mini, knit city, the first one that happened after the pandemic, that there were lots and lots of brand new knitters who had just picked up knitting during the pandemic.
Yeah.
What have you guys seen in terms because you're going from city to city, you're seeing all different cities, all different corners of Canada. What has the knitting population, the knitting community been like in all these different places? What have you guys noticed?
That's a good
There's
question.
like a real commonality though. Like I think through all the cities, like we do see a lot of similarities. Like definitely knitting for sure, for sure. But a lot of crochet, a lot of weaving, a lot of people using yarn in creative ways. Um, Fiona, what were you gonna say?
Yeah. I was just gonna say our demographic has always been really, really wide. And it's great. It makes for a wonderful community, but we have like people that have been knitting for years and years. and sort of an older demographic, but always like throughout our whole career doing this, like there's always like sort of a new group coming in, interested in the fiber arts and interested in knitting and getting really excited about the community. And that's been really, really nice to watch. Um, there's always sort of like a new generation coming in. No, like no one's people are interested. If you're interested, you're interested, and you'll seek it out and find it. And people seem to be continuing to do that, which is really cool. Often like in the media and stuff, they'll be like, and I know Amanda and I have been part of articles like this. There'll be articles that is like, knitting's cool again. And like, but it's not like it's ever going away. It's never gone away. It's never come back to be cool. It's like a very steady community that is like pretty diverse, and there's always new people coming in and being super interested in it and getting hooked on fiber arts.
Mhm. And no doubt, you
We
guys
do.
are creating let's get sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, just that we see changes with social media. Like social media definitely, the difference from Instagram knitters to TikTokers, it's different. And we love seeing the different demographics come in though. Like we're
Yeah.
seeing more men, we're seeing more younger people.
Mhm.
Like
That's
it's
awesome.
it's great. Yeah, we love it.
Yeah. I think the most recent post that I've seen is about how grandma hobbies can extend your life or something. And like on one hand, it's like, oh, yeah, sure. Like knitting is good for you and that's great. But I don't like it being called grandma hobbies because I was doing it
Oh,
since I was like in grade 4. So
Totally.
yes.
Mhm.
And like no shade to the grandmas. We love all the grandmas that are doing it and keep doing it, but it's like that's one part of the demographic that people like to concentrate on. But it's huge.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
I think that people it's just I don't know, it's really nice. I think people too are coming at it from an angle of wanting to be careful with the materials they use. They want to use something natural. They want wool. They want to
Mhm.
make their own clothes. They may want to make something special that's going to last.
Mhm.
People are sort of a reaction to fast fashion, I think, in many ways.
Yeah, I think fast fashion is definitely one expression of that. Yeah, that speed and where society is going and all that kind of stuff. But also, we're watching so much happen with the digital side of things and things being fake or things being automatically generated. And so, I think that return back to things that you've made stitch by stitch, inch by inch with your hands, I think will become even more special in the future, both to the person who's making them and to the person who's going to wear them or receive them at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
totally agree.
Mhm, mhm. So, what are you guys most looking forward to over the next sort of like coming months before the end of the year? You have lots and lots of things on the go. What's making you the most excited and the most happy these days?
I'm so excited to have our show back in Vancouver because we did Calgary last fall, so summer, and I'm really, really looking forward to it, and just seeing the familiar faces and just being in that environment that you know is so familiar to us.
Yeah, me too. I'm super excited for Knit City Vancouver. It's kind of difficult. Like we do have to definitely have all of our like our year in our minds and all the events in the future, like and balance it out in our heads. But at the same time, it's like it's hard for me to concentrate on like I mostly am concentrating on the next event that's coming up,
Hmm,
if that makes
hmm.
sense.
Yeah,
And that's Vancouver. So like all
one
focus
step
is on
at a time.
Vancouver.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one
And
step at a
yeah,
time.
we're
I
looking
think.
forward to it.
Yeah, I know that you guys had mentioned before that this year in Vancouver is going to be the last year at this particular venue. Do you guys have any
Yeah.
plans for? um, the next venue, or if you might even take it out of Vancouver and move it to like a neighboring, city, say Richmond?
Yeah. Yeah.
We
So
have, we're looking at a few different options right now. It's been tough though, like to be honest, in the events industry, a mid-sized show like ours is there's not there's nowhere else in Vancouver to put this show. So we're trying to be creative and look at what the options are. We definitely don't want to not have the show in Vancouver or Vancouver area. So yeah, we might just have to get a little bit creative, but we're definitely trying to explore all the avenues.
Mhm, mhm,
Yeah, it might look a little bit different, but that's okay. Change is not a bad thing. It's a good thing, and we've had a really good run at the PNE Forum. Where like we really feel like a lot of affection for that building and sort of the whole era. And
mhm.
in a way, it's sad that it's the end of an era, but it's exciting to see what else can be done and see how the show is going to sort of evolve and fit into to Vancouver. You know, like I was saying, all our shows are so different for each city, and really they need to fit into whatever city they're in. And Vancouver, like I'm born and raised Vancouver. Amanda too. You grew up here as well, Felicia. And we've seen it change so much over
Mhm.
our lifetimes, and so we just need to go with the flow, and adapt
Yeah.
to the changes. And yeah, it's a challenge for sure to find a new venue. There really aren't any in Vancouver. Um, we realized that when we started looking at other cities, we're like, oh, there's these other cities have options. Vancouver has a PNE Forum, and then we have the convention center, which is a totally different vibe from the forum. So those are the two main ones. But anyways, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see where we end up. But we
Mhm.
definitely, yeah, we'll see where we end up. We definitely want to keep on hosting the show, but we're pretty determined to go out with a bang at the forum
Mhm.
this year.
Mhm. Fantastic. Well, I have no doubt that whatever you guys plan will be awesome in the future because you've done a show at all of these different cities. And like you said, they're all different, which means that you have to adapt to whatever environment or whatever options or whatever situation you are given in those different cities. And yeah, I think it's really, really important that we all have to evolve and things change and things are not going to stay the same for 10 years, 20 years. It's not going to be the same 10 years from now. And so I'll be excited to see if we can have the same conversation 10 years from now and see how everything has evolved and changed and all the different countries that you guys have traveled to and all of the different things that you've learned. I think that that will be really super fun. So I'm really looking forward
Yeah.
to seeing everything that you guys are going to create in the coming years. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
everything you guys do.
Well, thank you.
We
You've
appreciate it.
been a supporter of Knit City Vancouver since the very beginning. Felicia, you're a huge part of our story. So it's really nice to talk with you. And we just really appreciate all of your support over the years as well.
Of course, thank you. Excited to see everything that's going to happen in September. Yeah, so
Yeah.
if anybody wants to come and see the show and come to Vancouver, I think what's the best place to find you guys, or what's the best place to follow you?
Yeah, well, our website is going to have the most information. So that's knitsocial.ca. And then Instagram, Knit City Canada, will take you there too.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and if
Thank
you
you
want,
guys.
as for breaking Knit City news, you can join our newsletter on our website because we announce everything there first. So if you go to our website and then just join our newsletter, and then you'll get up to date information as soon as it's released.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to chat with you, Felicia. Let's talk in another 10 years.
Thank you so much for joining me on the Sweet Georgia Show. I hope today's conversation has sparked some inspiration for your own creative journey. If you'd like to explore our world of artisan yarns and vibrant colorways, visit us at sweetgeorgiayarns.com. And if you're ready to take your fiber arts skills to the next level, check out the School of Sweet Georgia at www.schoolofsweetgeorgia.com. You'll find hundreds of classes, patterns, and a supportive community of makers from all over the world. Right now through September 30th, 2025, we are offering 20% off both monthly and annual all access memberships with the code Back to School 2025. Now is the perfect time to dive into something new. Until next time, keep creating, keep trying new things, and remember there's always room for more color. This is Felicia, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.